Islam. It's gonna be a quick one. Um, we got the Marabut, Motorbit, um, a Muslim religious leader, teacher in West Africa. Remember, they don't know, or they do know, but be playing games that West Africa includes America. I find these in our story pop up a lot. These Muslim leaders, religious leaders, and we see these historically in the Maghreb. So watch for this. Show up in early American history between the Sharifs and the wars that happened with Spain. See, and for Europe and North America, because they know the history is here. Uh, let's begin. See, you see, got that rosary. Show you that the Vatican used more signs distorted Catholic religion. And we got right here, we got the Vaqueros Apaches. Let's check that out. Vaqueros, this means cowboy. But it existed before United States. Cause making movies and stuff going out west before the colonists said let's start moving west. They already been existing out here, and they show you say Iberian Peninsula or originated, but our history showed that we already existed, and both sides of the Atlantic. So that's how they will justify it through a lot of words. But they get down when you get down to the bottom. That's where they get to the truth a little bit, a little bit of the truth down here. See, Mexico, Aztec. You see, they start talking about Moorish elements and stuff like that. They even they connect a lot of places. They connect Arabia, connect Spain, um, Morocco, America. Um, See, everything gotta be an arrival by Spanish because they don't want to tell you about the pre 1492 America, which been already the same as they've been after 1492 with what we call it look like a bigger version of Spain. It was Spain been the Moorish Americans overseas kingdoms. See, they can't really justify all these people speaking Spanish, Bowden's Spanish. They can't justify that because they know. So all they do is tell us that Spanish bringing it through quick. That's how they explain everything. But you see, they got Andalusia, Barbary, Arabian. They find out from the horses that the horses been from different places. See, Brazil. Get back to the United States because they know that's where it's from. Spread throughout the world. So you see they got the Apache Vaqueros right there. Then you got Sanaga, Senegal, like the Senegal on the other side. And in South America, we talk about that a lot. The Red Sea, Kingdom of Cibola, Mazagon, the old and the new, appear in the current geography on the northern bank of the Amazon. That's what we know we can prove today, but we about to get into how that tells us about parts of the old Morocco in the area, which is not all still there. We just don't know. Portuguese Square had at the end of the 16th century 2,000 neighbors or residents. We war weapon, the horse, when it came to abandoning it, preferred to buy and sacrifice those that existed because of the cost of feeding them is higher on a journey to Tavira. So there's evidence that we're talking about um, the Americas instead of the Mazagon overseas. That is Price absurd initiative of having been Mazagon on the Saharan coast. See, located on the river between La Marmora and Salé, they separated from 24 hours by land from the port of Azamor. Azamor was called companion of the Duke, the first Duke of Medina, in the fortress 40s of the 15th century, 1440s, and their port archers embark. So that's how the Europeans we see. I tell you, you see these royals and these nobility of Europe with the ostrich feathers. They are getting it from Morocco, the old Morocco, in Brazil, and that ostrich feather really means nobility in Morocco. And that's how we can find out which kings had relations with Brazil, Morocco, and who really, or at least getting the ostrich feathers from them, showing up in tariffs. Santa Philip II, when the king offered Arzila or Mazagon al Sharif to obtain al Arachi, Pedro Vinagas advised, without a doubt, Mazagon is better for him, which is here next to Morocco, which is the head of his kingdom. We talked about that in the last video. When they say the head of the kingdom in these books, they're talking about America, because he got a Morocco on the other side, the Sharif, or us. We got our Morocco on the other side too. So when they say Morocco is the head of the kingdom, they're talking about the one in America. And barter was suspended. Portugal kept the square until 1768. We get into the Treaty of Peace of Friendship era, when Sidi Muhammad, conqueror of the Sus, took it, known by El Dorado. So you know that's America. See, it's America, connected to America. You can go read this. You can see Sir Walter Raleigh, story in this. 7 cities of gold. But we just know we got the Kashikwe. You know that's American. That's a Sharif. The same thing as this. Sharif. I tapping on stuff and I thinking I got my circle, so you can see why I tapping that, but I ain't got my circle up, so I'll have to just scratch him out like that. So we see he was known as El Dorado, Sidi Muhammad by nickname. just as his predecessor, Hamete, both of them. So that's a clue. She put that in to show us. We're talking about Moorish Americans, not Northwest African Moroccans. He found it under nostalgic, the Saharan Mogador. So Sidi Muhammad, or his predecessor, Hamete, found it under nostalgic because he from the side. They are from the side. It's their homeland, motherland. But when they've been over there, they've been naming some of the stuff the same through just through nostalgic. So he named the Mogador over there after the one over here. So let's look there on my Sidi Muhammad. That's the Treaty of Peace of Friendship Sultan. That's why it'd be easy for him to sign the treaty for the Moors in North America and Morocco, and because he already had everything set up like that since ancient times. Our Sultan, basically, the connections between him and the Morocco, what we call Philadelphia, been well clear. Uh, not this Muhammad. That's a shame I don't got this page pop up. This page would be the first page to pop up, knowing that they got the Treaty of Peace of Friendship with the Sultan. So disrespectful. So you see, man, he died right after he did that treaty too. Let's see if they mention it. So you had your own money. You shouldn't be out here killing each other behind the United States note. It show how much history is important. You will know that you create money like it been nothing. You see the English, they had a name like Inglis. So yeah, they talk about the treaty, 1787. Signed by Sidi Muhammad. You see John Adams for London. There ain't been no white people at this time, been no U.S. citizens and none of that yet. They've been just nations. So Paris, signed for Paris. Who that is? Might be Franklin Benjamin. I can't really tell. Well, I don't look like Franklin. I look like somebody else. Well, we know Jefferson. That's what I look like. Signed under France. But these jurisdictions in America still, we really unite. We ain't finished uniting the states yet, so they still in their own jurisdiction. They still subjects of England and subject of France, princes. Just like we subject of Morocco in the world. Yeah. They go on, we saying our Du Bois, they get these things signed for the states. See, United States and Congress assembled for their final ratification. Theirs. And these Moors, they starting to find out they've been all across, they've been from all over the Americas, not really. So you see Sidi Muhammad stole in America, head of the kingdom, when this treaty being done. Even El Dorado. In transit through the Marathon of Arguello expedition in 1561, they found strong houses tall and surrounded by palm boards. You see, we already been built up over here. When they were coming in these expeditions talking about it, they already had huge buildings and we were much more advanced than Spain. Like I said, Spain been our overseas kingdom. On the door they had this the Circle 7. That's why I say Noble Ali giving us the ancient Moorish American science. Because he already here. Got the sun is 1561. They found it on the door. The sun was painted on a board and the figure of a man. So I was telling you in the last video how we look at the creation story and stuff like that. And on the other was a painted the moon and a woman. So sun and moon, star crescent, man, woman, those type of signs been already well known here. That's what we getting back in our circles. That we nothing foreign with that man. Your ancient ancestors for real. No matter if we don't know this or not, we finding out now that he been on point. So you see everything about gold. He finding a little bit of gold when he on this expedition. On the island of 6 by 3 leagues, the India Company. So we know we're talking about America when we see the West India Company involved. Installed roaring planners who had problems with the Dutch. In 1624, a mission to Cabo Verde landed in Rio Fresco, passing meeting points of merchants. They found Lutherans, Calvinists, Armenians, Jews, Muslims, and converted Aborigines population who spoke Portuguese. So all these is the different tribes and stuff here, but they got. She can recognize them as some who been sailors. They could have been all over the world, but they've been here too. And they had different customs, languages, and stuff like that. We're gonna talk about in the next video some more say Aboriginal population who spoke Portuguese. They find a lot of that. And at the house of the Portuguese Dona Filipa, the first mass was said. The mayor of the place, native and prudent, so we got a native in America, exhibited in his cabin 2 portraits of the kings of Spain and France, powers that disputed Guinea. So they find out that these people was not some wild Indians. People had understandings like we got modernly about the world. It's just a hoax, the Columbus hoax, so deep that she had to put these type of things to show you how civilized and how wrong that is to even think about history in that manner. To think before 1492, you just got wild man in tents running around this continent with a language not unknown to the rest of the world, with stuff unknown to the rest of the world before Columbus. So you got to put so much of this type of stuff in here. The fact that they had paintings of the kings of Spain and stuff. Sure, they get it. You got stuff like this that people ain't paying attention to, you see. Right here say the Egyptian battalion in Mexico, and that ain't even that far off. That's around the Civil War period up here. So that means it stole empires, dominions, and kingdoms, not these countries and states that being created after World War I and II. It's a different mentality when you think about history. That's the first mistake I see. Even the so-called top historians make. They use a modern day mind, maps, understanding, and try to put it in the past. It's not going to work. You must know the truth. So you got the Egyptian battalion to show you how far stretched the Egyptian empire of the Moors was. A far stretch. Just like all other European kingdoms we see in history, that we see far stretch all the way to Americas, England, France, even Russia, Germany, all these places. That's what I'm trying to tell you in the last video is just jurisdictions. It can be anywhere in the world at this time. He just under those jurisdictions, especially based off your language. The English monarch definitely show us that that's true because he write in his history book that all English speakers is his subjects. So that's how they used to think back then. And we see the Pete Journal, France got a lot of these. You see right here, this red cape or band around his waist, like Mobile Charlie that we were seeing in the videos, the red band and his fez on the floor. And it's the allegory of to paint a black come on white allegory. But so that let you know they in probably the west because it's the Apaches. The Apaches. And this allegory changing you from one thing to the next. And they probably just come out west and settlers fucking with these people. And they do stuff like this. That's the sign of, or this might be him, but because they don't reconstruct so much things while we been sleeping, while we be debating each other, while we being Afrocentrics in the 70s and all the stuff we were doing from after the Civil War up until now. They've been into history and they alter a lot of stuff. They alter, change up stuff. And basically your grandfathers who had wealth and had an important part of history, they definitely whitewash them. About him, he throughout the timeline we can see that his family, they start off being free white persons. These are the Moorish Americans who ain't get listed as Moorish Americans. They get listed as other things in this time. After the war, they all get redesignated to free people of color based off their wealth. All mulatto, all free blacks, all Negro, all these people. But before the war, they've been things like white, Indian, free white person, not white, free white person, because there's a difference in law, Indian and stuff. But these are the last of the Moorish Americans who the United States denationalized them to take their wealth, our wealth. It's Charleston, South Carolina, very wealthy. You see, that they claim this is father. You can see they try to repaint the shit as much as they could. But even his father in the history of the so-called black slave owners of South Carolina, both of them, his son and father, but we can say about his son that this is crazy ass, this is a bullshit painting. This man dark skinned. His whole family listed in there as going through shit through the 1800s that they tell you that so-called black people going through. But he was wealthy and shit, so he had more power and everything. But his history is you can find those books of the black slave owners. But you can tell how they switch up your history at the end of the day, because all the children around probably don't know who he is or know their history because of the status changes, and they run around today as African Americans and blacks. But through the history yourself, you will see this family, you start off listed as free white persons. We can also see where they say English. Again, that's the Turkish, the Ottoman. We've been part of this empire over on this side of the world. That's why you see things that make you perceive as Turkish, because speaking like a Roman Englishman, everything he find that look like something that he can't read, he gonna say either Moorish, English, African or Turkish a word they know to describe things without giving you details because they like children. They're just African, but in the African box. I can't read that, especially in a colony at this time. Everything switching to English after 1812, 1820, really. The government, everything switching to, we gonna put everything in English because the penal colony people can't read. So we gotta take this Latin and codify it into English at this time and make this the language of the land. So a lot of things. People could have been coming from off the colony speaking Arabic on the colony. You getting listed as an African because of that. Because they don't got nothing registered off the colony yet. So you coming in, you coming from different countries coming into the U.S., even coming from the South, coming into from Florida, coming into the colonies. You coming from another country into the U.S. See the Iroquois Confederation show up on this map. They find this map 01803 Turkish. That's what they call it. Well labeled the government of the Six Nations. And other tribes shown the map Algonquin, Chippewa, Western Sioux. So they had to be knowing this Ottoman map maker. A lot of these things, because they got, you see, they got Gardaby, that's what we say the West. They got the black ponies and the white ponies. And you see these on old maps too, written like this. So basically, this, just like the Arabic, the Turkish, all these can be read. The script just look foreign to us. These scripts don't look foreign to us because these the Western Latin letters. So these you can read easily Turkish or more Arabic or whatever. They're not, but the script different to you. But the language, we say words all day, every day. That's different Moorish terms, Turkish and Arabic, phonetically. Because phonetically, you're not about Moorish Latin. So you know, English, like Martha English, who did the Treaty of Peace, who did her declaration in Charleston in 1824. Her name was English. So that's just a Moorish version of English. We see Sultan Sultan El English, the Sultan of England. George III would spell like the Sultan El English on the document. So he's not foreign. He's just like a Roman who don't really know nothing, the baby. He's gonna say something just Turkish because he, ain't as detailed in the history. So when I see people saying that about why you got big, you trying to be like Turks, that means you just, I don't want to say ignorant, because ignorant just is a Latin term for they ignore. Means you know something but you ignore it. That just means you very well misinformed. It's like how the English people in the colony who just learning about life and history and stuff, they would do stuff like that, just throw it in the Turkish box instead of doing the research and see that it is American. We got the Virginians. Yeah, we got the Virginians, and we see the I don't remember again what the Corsican had on the thing. These navigation tools, I just finding out that I didn't talk about this before in the video, but I find this too. They talk about it a little bit more in this. You can see they praying to the idol, and you can see these Moors put the. We showed us on the last video where the girl had this little feather gown like this. About this Virginia. You see, still got the same little Moorish idol on the top. Basically, they self. But I guess some of us had know about navigating the world. Just basically remembering about the ancient world when they all been one to us in our mind, one world, and we were going all over the place. We ain't much had a concept of homeland, fatherland, and motherland and stuff at those times, really. Um, Even really till after the exiles of the Jews and Moors in Spain that we started to have an understanding of motherland. Because we'd have been damned if you exiled us and then we catch you on the side. That's a lot of the reason why they've been getting spanked on this side for all the stuff they've been doing on the other side, Spain. And the concept of homeland was come up about when they started to find out that most of those Moors and Jews been saying they going to their homeland, but getting ships that go across the Atlantic. You start to realize that they going back and we calling it homeland. He put the story of John Smith and Pocahontas and stuff in this, but he got something to look at. This story predate his drawings, but he realized he in the same place of the story, so he drew it. He wrote it with the English. That's a Dutch painter, writer and painter of the book, originally written in Latin, translated. But that's why people think that he ain't been to America, because how he write. But if they read the book, he explains these things. He explains why some of the pictures, he got dragons and weird stuff in the pictures, because that's what they used to say, that he ain't really been there because of the fantasy stuff. But he explained at the beginning that some stuff that he writing about and drawing about predates his time, so he can't really know, but he can guess based off what he's seeing in his time, which is the 1600s when he actually did come and draw stuff. So he connecting things past and his present in the book. But they didn't really read the book. The websites on the internet who got this book and they talking about it, and the caption they always putting the artist. He ain't really been in America. They're doing that to try to play with you, because they know everybody dark skin on these paintings. So they put stuff like that and never read the book, because he explains some things. On this map we can see another map that got away. You see Bermuda. We see Bermuda right there. We see near this area got the Canaries, which they don't really know how we look. They just know they're on the side of the world. We also got Cabo Verde, the island of Cape Verde's on the side. Not on the other side. And you get pushed on the other side later. Gran Canaria get pushed on the other side, but we know Gran Canaria. We know Colombia was once called Gran Colombia, so they had to drop that Gran off there so we wouldn't figure out later that that was Gran Canaria, because those stories that connect with that, the stories between Moors and Christians. And again, they need us to believe that this the new world with wild Indians. No Moors and Christians, no stories like that exist. But we already not show Southerns calling themselves El Dorado. You can just look at the style of dress and know we're talking about Moors. And this right here again, this is how nobility, this a sign of nobility, kingship, queenship, and across Africa and Asia. You will find this. We can see right here, just the Morocco that they want us to believe only exists. The modern day version. Don't follow that up. We see got the same thing that they've been doing over here. These Morocco, they righteous. They know they historically has come from America and moved west, moved the head of the kingdom west because of the walls and stuff. And we stole, and that didn't even happen as long as we think. Like we just showed 17, the last song did this treaty, stole it on the side, ain't been no problem. And ain't, even after that, like after the 1836, because that's the last time we see that treaty. I think up until that, I think he still been on the side. And then the jurisdiction probably fell from Morocco to Philadelphia as we know it. And we know around that time, 1800, we know what's going on this side between each other. So I can see why that treaty said 1887, and then they said 1836, and then get them signed. No more from us. Whoever signed them now, they're playing games, but we will once again pull up that treaty. 50 years gonna go by again without that treaty being observed if we don't get this. If we don't get this history, we gotta observe that treaty because that's where the power at. And they can't never get rid of it because that's how they create this country that they call in the country. See the Lord. See them boy fast look like the South Carolina. I can show you. Look like this one, right? So you already know that's ancient Carthaginian, ancient Phoenician, Moorish, and you see that's right there is Turkish. So you won't worry about my baby, to worry about this. There's so much things that you can say Turkish because you can find it on the other side. That don't mean it's Turkish. A lot of these things is your customs that end up being on the other side. The head gray like that right there in the Budrali. Myra. You got Morocco on this one, yeah. Morocco. A lot of these you can look up the names and you'll find out these been the names of the Kashikwe of these areas. Talking about the last video, the kings of Guinea and all that. They all know about it. If you got cities and you set up cities, then you know about the whole world. You ain't ignorant. I mean, it's all right. His kings of Guinea. I believe you're talking about these Kashikwes. All this more is Latin to me. You can see in feminine vowels, Utina. On the other side, you got Utika. Morocco. Matiaka. The Kashike Maxiaka story. Interesting. You see all these words with qua and que at the end. Moorish Latin. How's the qua? Omatikwa. Anikakwe. Anikakwe. So that's why he basically been his own country for the most part. Love Florida. So again, look like the marabout. Which you see, always got tobacco. And it's definitely Red Cape Gang. The whole crew. I ain't getting the thing, but you see it was fast just like the one we see in that painting, in that picture, and in that painting. So you both sides. Fruits of amalgamation. So we see in this, we see him with his face. It's a American painting. I think Virginia. You see him with his Moorish thing in the back. Look like Othello. So he know who he is in America at the time. Could be Philadelphia or Morocco. For some reason, I had like me some Zorro back in the day. And Zorro always been in America. But for some reason I like Zorro, but you see this all Moorish dress, the Zorro, Black Corsair. And you go back and look at it now, you can really see he had the cape, he had a little belt with a gun in him, just like the Moors of Morocco, right? So, we're in the far west, and it was Moorish lands. Now we can see this now, people like to say in their books how Islam get in and they really say Islam conquer Egypt and all these other places because they see that today they see people speak Arabic and stuff day to day like even anciently. In this picture we see the Romans, they ready to embark in Egypt and you see who they fighting already, who already they fighting. Then you go down near Nubia, I guess, southern, see them getting converted to a new god, Byzantine, Britain, Rome. They already converted. No. War of the Americans, of the Americas. You see Moors, just on the side, up and down. You see different Moors. The chronicle of the armed conflict in the New World already traced too. I'm trying to tell you, these the real navigators going back and forth. The history books probably not call them different things. Afro-Brazilians, conquistadors and shit like that. Let me see, in Brazil, look like the Marabou got the teachings. And it's always no protege. But you can see how they dress. We would say like the Arabs or Moroccans. But we gotta say stuff like that because Brazil and America, they want to give it its own history, like a new world version of history. Even we doing that, we just don't got that mind state about we gotta sever line from our ancestors. Just cut line, cut that shit. So it's 1826. See, even Asian got the Moors teaching science, navigation, and he even got his umbrella. That's part of the empire. So let's stop right there and we continue in the next one.